In this video, I want to show you how to teach your kid throttle control. What's up, Rad family? I'm Dakota Freeman and welcome to the Rad Adventure Dude channel. When we're teaching our kid throttle control, it's going to be important that we get them on the correct bike so they can learn the proper way. We want to make sure that our kids are first getting on a smaller bike so they have a little bit easier time learning with the throttle. Then once they get comfortable, they can get on bigger bikes with more power and be able to have proper throttle control and not just slam on the throttle whenever they want to go faster. So when we're teaching our kids throttle control, it may be a little bit difficult if they don't want to listen to us. As being a parent, you know that your kids normally don't want to listen to you, and this is just part of life. So if we get a friend or someone that our kids look up to and get them to teach them how to have the proper throttle control, sometimes this works a little better. So the first thing we want to teach our kids about having the proper throttle control is not just going from 0 to 100 on the throttle every time. We really want to teach our kids how to use the throttle to the point that we want to accelerate, and that we teach our kids how to roll on the throttle so that it doesn't spin the back wheel. To get your kids to roll on the throttle as they are accelerating is going to be so important to give them more traction out of the rear tire. This is because as they accelerate really hard, it may spin the back wheel, breaking it loose, and they can even slide the back end out, and this will put them on the ground. So to teach your kid the proper throttle control, make sure you're teaching them how to use the throttle at each point instead of turning the throttle all the way on every time they want to accelerate. Other ways that we can improve our throttle control is going to be using our throttle as we're going around corners. If we're coming into a corner, we're on the brakes and we're going to be shifting down, using the engine brake to help us get into this corner without being too fast. Then, once they're in the corner, they need to learn how to apply throttle without just turning it all the way on, like I was just saying. We really want them to get into this corner and then as soon as they're ready, apply a quarter turn of throttle to help get the bike going around the corner faster. Then as they're coming out of the corner, they really need to start turning on more throttle, and this is really going to help them get out of the corner as fast as possible. Making sure that they're in the proper gear is really going to improve their throttle control as well. If they're in the wrong gear and they go to turn the throttle on, it's going to bog and they're not going to have the proper acceleration. But if we're making sure that they're shifting back down coming into these corners, this is going to help them get in a lower gear to come out with more acceleration, giving them better throttle control. So make sure that you teach your kid how the RPMs of the motor work and how to listen to it as well. So that way if the RPMs are too high, that they know that and they know they need to shift up into the next gear. And if they go to get on the throttle and it wants to bog down, that they know to shift down to actually give them a better gear ratio to have more acceleration and better throttle control. Being in the correct gear is going to be so important to our throttle control and making sure that we can accelerate properly, and being able to get in the higher gears to know that we have the most top speed whenever we're looking for it out on our dirt bikes. So work with your kids and be able to get them doing this naturally, and don't worry about them being the fastest riders out on the tracks and trails, and don't get mad at them for not doing things properly. Just simply work with them over time with this and help get other people to help you as well. The more that they hear what they need to be doing, the easier it is for kids to have this stick in their mind and actually have better throttle control. The most important part of any dirt bike riding is going to be having fun, and as long as your kid's having fun, that's really all that matters, and the rest of this is all going to come with time. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, make sure you hit that and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future dirt bike riding tips. Other parts of the tracks and trails that we're going to have to work on our throttle control is going to be when we're going up hills and down hills. When we're going up a steep hill, it's very important that your kids come into this with more momentum, and that they can have that momentum as they start going up the hill. This momentum is really going to help your kids drive to the top of this hill, as they probably have a little bit smaller motor anyways. So having momentum is going to be huge to helping your kid get to the top of these hills without running out of power. Also help teach your kids that when they're going up hills like this and they begin to run out of power, that they need to shift down, just like when going into a corner, to get in a lower gear with a higher RPM level, and this is going to give you more acceleration to get to the top of that hill. Working with this over time is going to be a very important part, as every time we're out on a dirt bike, we're going up hills, we're going down hills, and we really need to know what to do to have the most throttle control when we're going up to the top of the hill. Now let's go over what to do when we're going downhill. When we're going downhill on our dirt bikes, especially when we're teaching our kids, we want them to use the gears and the brakes. Depending on what level your kid's at, using the front brake is going to be kind of difficult for them, and it could put them on the ground if they grab too much front brake and it locks that front wheel up. So work with your kid to get them to shift down through the gears as they're going down a big hill. Make sure they're only shifting down one gear at a time, letting the clutch out and feeling how this affects the motor before they continue shifting down. Then as they're doing this, they really want to use the rear brake to help them slide down this hill slowly without gaining too much speed. Normally I say don't use the rear brake unless you have the clutch pulled in, but since we're going down a steep hill right now, if you do pull the clutch in, it's going to actually speed up your dirt bike as it frees up the gears and doesn't have the engine brake engaged anymore. So actually, when we're going downhill, it's okay to drag our back brake without having the clutch pulled in, as since we're going down this steep hill, if the bike stalls, the steep hill is actually going to help it crank back up, and this is really going to help you out so you can keep that engine brake engaged and not have to just go down this hill using your front and back brake. As your kid's getting better and developing better skills with this, make sure that you get them using that front brake. Not at the very beginning, but once they're getting more comfortable, show them how to use that front brake to a point where it engages, and make sure that they're not just grabbing a handful of front brake, or else that could put them on the ground. And we really want them to ride and have the most confidence, and we want to keep them off the ground when possible. So the best way to get your kid to learn throttle control is going to be experience. Simply getting your kid on their dirt bike and have them riding around, no matter if they're on tracks, if they're on trails, or if they're just in the front yard riding. Honestly, that's all it takes. The more seat time your kid gets, the more everything becomes natural, and it's going to make them so much more comfortable on their dirt bikes. Rad family, I'm so proud of you for teaching your kid how to ride a dirt bike with the proper throttle control, and keep working with them and developing their riding skills to make them the best riders possible. So if you're looking for more dirt bike riding tips, or you want me to personally teach your kid how to ride a dirt bike, make sure you check out my online dirt biking course over on my website. This dirt bike course is going to take you or your child from a beginner rider and take them all the way to an advanced rider mastering the tracks and trails. I also have a free dirt bike guide that I give away on my website. Just sign up for my newsletter and I'll send it right to you. If this video helped you, make sure you like this video, drop some comments down below, and ask me any other questions that you have. Make sure you click the subscribe button that's right here and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future dirt bike riding tips. And after that, you can watch my next video right here. So stay rad, and I'll see you guys over there.